Hollywood fame can disappear overnight. One bad movie, one wrong role. These actors were on top of the world, winning Oscars, breaking box office records, until one film changed everything. Demi Moore was once Hollywood's highest-paid actress, setting a record-breaking $12.5 million paycheck for striptease in 1996, but the gamble backfired. The erotic comedy flopped at the box office, opening behind family-friendly hits like The Nutty Professor and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Critics tore it apart, and the movie swept 6 Razzie Awards, including Worst Picture. Practically overnight, Moore went from superstar to box office poison, and Disney even panicked over releasing her next project, G.I. Jane. When that film also underperformed, Moore's career stalled, and she stepped back from the spotlight, later becoming more famous for her high-profile marriage and divorce from Ashton Kutcher than her movie roles. In the early 90s, Kevin Costner was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, riding high on hits like The Untouchables, Field of Dreams, and his Oscar-winning Dances with Wolves. But everything changed with Waterworld, a massively ambitious dystopian epic plagued by production chaos and an inflated budget. Despite making headlines as the most expensive film ever at the time, it flopped critically and struggled financially, damaging Costner's A-list status. Things worsened when his follow-up, The Postman, became another box office disaster. While Costner later found success in smaller dramas like Open Range and 13 Days, and took supporting roles in blockbusters, his superstar momentum never fully returned after Waterworld. Kristen Kruk was riding high as Lana Lang on Smallville when she made a risky career move, leaving the hit series to star in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. The decision backfired spectacularly. Marketed as a big-budget franchise starter, the film turned out to be a critical disaster, earning an abysmal 5% on Rotten Tomatoes and grossing less than $9 million domestically against a $50 million budget. Kruk's performance was heavily criticized, with reviewers calling her sleepy and lifeless, and the backlash severely damaged her leading lady prospects. While she later found success on TV again with shows like Beauty and the Beast and Burden of Truth, this flop remains a defining misstep in her Hollywood journey. John Travolta's career has had more ups and downs than almost any Hollywood star, but nothing hit harder than Battlefield Earth. After iconic highs with Grease, Pulp Fiction, and Face Off, Travolta seemed unstoppable until he starred in the infamous L. Ron Hubbard adaptation. Costing $73 million to make but earning less than $30 million, the movie became one of the biggest box office disasters ever, holding a brutal 3% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics and fans alike called it a career killer, and it marked yet another fall from grace for Travolta. While he's managed smaller comebacks since, Battlefield Earth remains one of Hollywood's most legendary flops. Alicia Silverstone was Hollywood's golden girl after Clueless, until Batman and Robin changed everything. Cast as Batgirl alongside George Clooney's Batman, Silverstone was expected to soar to new heights. Instead, the 1997 blockbuster became infamous for its critical failure, earning her a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress. To make matters worse, she endured a brutal press tour where journalists cruelly body-shamed her, overshadowing her talent and potential. The backlash stalled her career just as she was poised for superstardom. While Alicia later earned a Golden Globe nomination for Miss Match and found success in indie projects, Batman and Robin remains a turning point that reshaped her Hollywood journey. Taylor Kitsch went from sleeping on subways to starring in one of Disney's biggest box office disasters. After gaining a cult following as Tim Riggins on Friday Night Lights, Kitsch was poised for stardom until 2012's John Carter changed everything. The sci-fi epic was supposed to launch a franchise, but instead became one of Hollywood's costliest flops, losing Disney a staggering $200 million. The failure, followed by another disappointment with Battleship the same year, tanked Kitsch's momentum and pushed him far down the studio casting lists. Though he remains admired for his talent, John Carter became a painful reminder that even rising stars can fall fast in Hollywood. Sean Connery was a Hollywood legend, known worldwide as the original James Bond, and later reinvented as an action hero in hits like The Rock and The Hunt for Red October. But in 2003, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen marked an unexpected turning point. Despite its star power and intriguing premise, the film bombed with critics and audiences alike, leaving Connery frustrated with Hollywood. Disappointed by the experience, he stepped away from acting entirely and officially announced his retirement in 2005. While his legacy as one of cinema's greatest icons remains untouchable, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen became the film that quietly closed the curtain on Connery's legendary career. Halle Berry made history by winning an Oscar for Monsters Ball in 2001, but just 3 years later, Catwoman nearly wrecked her career. The 2004 Batman spin-off was a critical disaster, sweeping the Razzies and earning Berry some of the harshest reviews of her life. One outlet even suggested she return her Academy Award. Afterward, Berry retreated into smaller roles, returning as Storm in the X-Men series, but struggling to regain her early 2000s momentum. Slowly, she rebuilt her place in Hollywood, appearing in hits like Kingsman, The Golden Circle, and John Wick, Chapter 3. In 2020, Berry reinvented herself again, making her directorial debut with Bruised, proving she's far from finished. In the 90s, Meg Ryan was Hollywood's undisputed rom-com queen, charming audiences in hits like Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, and When Harry Met Sally. But everything changed with Proof of Life. The film was critically panned, yet it wasn't the movie itself that hurt Ryan's career. It was the highly publicized affair with co-star Russell Crowe during her rocky marriage to Dennis Quaid. The scandal overshadowed the movie and damaged her once wholesome image. When her next project, In the Cut, also bombed, Ryan's A-list momentum collapsed, and Hollywood seemed to turn away. Ryan later admitted the fallout was a major turning point in her career. In the late 80s and early 90s, Jean-Claude Van Damme was an unstoppable action star, dominating box offices with hits like Time Cop, Universal Soldier, and Bloodsport. But by the late 90s, his momentum began to slip, and Universal Soldier, The Return, marked the breaking point. The unnecessary sequel failed to live up to the original's success, earning just $10 million against a $45 million budget and receiving brutal reviews. After the flop, Van Damme transitioned almost entirely to direct-to-video releases, stepping away from big studio films for years. Thankfully, he staged a career resurgence in the late 2000s with the acclaimed meta-drama JCVD and a high-profile return in The Expendables 2. In the late 90s, Neve Campbell was everywhere, from Party of Five fame to reigniting the horror genre with Scream and Scream 2. She was Hollywood's rising it girl, winning MTV awards, landing magazine covers, and even hosting SNL alongside David Bowie. But in 1998, Campbell shocked audiences by taking on the risque role in Wild Things, an erotic thriller that divided critics and dented her wholesome image. While she stayed tied to the Scream franchise for years, her other projects struggled to gain traction, pushing her out of Hollywood's A-list. Campbell later reinvented herself with roles in House of Cards and Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer, proving her staying power. Topher Grace seemed destined for movie stardom after leaving That 70s Show, with strong performances in films like Traffic and In Good Company. But his big swing came in 2007 when he was cast as Venom in Spider-Man 3. Fans were excited until the movie hit theaters. Miscast as the muscle-bound villain and competing for screen time among three antagonists, Grace's performance failed to land, and the movie's mixed reception hurt his momentum as a leading man. While he continued working in films like Predators and Interstellar, his Hollywood trajectory slowed significantly.